Welcome to part 3. Let me show you one of the first problem lawyer run into when they start using AI. Imagine it's Monday. You spend 40 minutes working with Claude on Meridian Matter. You upload the contract, review the invoices, and discuss strengths and weaknesses of the case. By the end of the conversation, you decided that the settlement floor should be 65,000 because the evidence supporting the second invoice is not very strong. Everything is going well. Then Tuesday comes. You open a brand new conversation and say, based on what we decided yesterday about Meridian, draft a follow-up email to opposing counsel. Cloud responses, I don't have information about that matter or the settlement floor. That can feel frustrating, but nothing disappeared. Your Monday conversation is still safe and you can reopen it anytime. The problem is that a new conversation starts with a clean slate. It doesn't automatically know what happened in your other conversation. So every time you start a new chat about the same matter, you may find yourself uploading the same document, explaining the same facts, and repeating decision you already made. Across several active cases, that can easily turn into hours of repetitive work every week. This is exactly what projects are designed to solve. Think of a project as a dedicated workspace for one client or for one matter. Your document, interaction, conversation, and background information all stay together. Instead of starting over, you open the project and continue working. That one change can make your entire workflow feels faster and much more organized. Claude gives you three main ways to work: chat, project, and Cowork. They serve different purposes, and choosing the right one make a big difference. Let's start with a chat. Chat is one conversation. It's perfect for a quick one-time task. Maybe you need to review one document, draft a short email, or ask a general legal question. The files and information you provide stay inside that particular conversation. For one-time work, that is usually all you need. On the other side, projects are for ongoing work. A project gives one client or one matter its own workspace. You upload the same document once, you add the matter instruction once, then every conversation inside that project can work from the same document and background information. You spend less time explaining the case and more time working on it. If it is an active matter that you expect to return to, use a project. Cowork is different. Cowork works directly with folder and file on your computer. Imagine that you have 120 exhibits, hundreds of medical records, or a large demand package that need to be organized. You can point Cowork to that folder and give it a task. It can organize documents, rename files, create folders, and help with large file management projects. Here's the easiest way to remember the difference. For a quick task, use chat. For active matter, use project. And for a large group of file on your computer, use Cowork. Choose the tools based on the work you are doing. So now let's create our first project. The setup only take a few minutes, but it can save you hours of repetitive work later. First, I'm going to open Claude Desktop and I will go to the sidebar and I'm going to click on project. This create a dedicated workspace for one client case transaction. Next, I'm going to hit on new project and I will give it a clear name. This name is mainly for you. So here I'm going to type Meridian versus Questline. Okay. So I just typed the name and I'm not going to worry about the instruction right here because we are going to set the instruction later. And then you are going to hit on create project. Now, this is what you see. It's the inside that project. Now we get the most important step. We are going to click on the instruction. This work as a memo that you will give a new associate on their first day working on the matter. This will tell Claude who you represent, explain the basic situation, describe your objective, add any rule, preferences, or limitation that matter for this case. So Claude read this instruction whenever you start a conversation inside the project. So you do not have to repeat them every time, or you don't have to upload the document that belong to this matter every day or every time. And then here in the context, we are going to add our document. The document can be anything that relate to that matter. That may include contract, invoices, correspondence, pleading. It can be medical record, deposition, transaction, or other key files that you need. Claude will read this instruction each time that you are inside the project, and it will have access to all of them, so you do not have to repeating and uploading them each time. At this point, Claude already has the instruction, document, background information, and you can begin with the actual task instead of spending the first 5 minutes setting everything up again. One important recommendation is to create a separate project for each active matter. Do not mix unrelated client-owned cases in the same project. One matter, one project. That keeps the workspace organized, and it helps keep each client information properly separated. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what goes in your project instruction in the next slide. Okay, in the last step, I told you to write project instruction, but I did not tell you exactly what to put in them. So let's fix that now using something you already know. So if you remember, we worked on craft framework in part 2. If you have not watched part 2, please go ahead and do so. Craft include context, role, action, format, and tone. And when you are working in a single chat, every message need all 5, because the chat remember nothing on its own. You have to bring the full craft every single time. Project change that. So your project instruction are written once, and Claude read them at the start of every conversation inside that project. So the part of craft that stay the same across the whole matter belong here. That means context, role, and tone. The context is who you represent, what the matter is, and what you are trying to achieve. The role is how you want Claude to act on this matter, for example, as a litigation associate. And the tone is the general voice you want. You write those once, and you never repeat them again for the matter. Now, here is the important part. 2 letters do not belong in your project instruction: the action and the format. Think about why. The action is the actual task, and it changes every single time. One moment you are summarizing a deposition, the next you are drafting a demand letter. The next maybe you are reconciling the back charge. If you lock one action into the instruction, the project can only ever do one thing. The format changes too. Sometimes you want a table, sometimes you want a Word document, sometimes it's a timeline. So the format belongs in each individual request, not the standing instruction. Here is the easy way to remember it. In a chat, you write the whole craft every time. In a project, you write context, role, tone once, and you leave the action and the format for each prompt. So let me make that concrete with Meridian case. I'm gonna go ahead and open the instruction, and the instruction I will paste my prompt, but remember, I am not adding the action and I'm not adding the format. So if you can see the project instruction, it's about the Meridian Interior and Crestline Builder. I represent Meridian Interior. Disputes, I wrote like some information about the dispute, and I put an objective, how I want you to work, act as an experienced Texas construction attorney representing the subcontractor, and all those information, write in a plain, direct English, short sentences. And now we have those rules that we add. So there's no fabrication citation. Make sure that you put a verify. And so I added all of this, and every draft with a short verify before leave the office. So we have the checklist at the end. So this instruction goes right here. I'm going to save it. And then in the context, I'm going to add my files that relate to this case. I have the contract, I have the project, the invoices, the payment claim, and emails. So everything that belonged to this case, I will add it right here. Now my project has an instruction and it has the context. And now I can easily give it a prompt. So right here, if I need to draft an email, I'm going to write draft an email, give me as a Word document. And each time you wanted to change anything, you wanted to get anything from Claude, easily you can just open your project, come to this matter, and you can easily get access to this matter and get product from Claude. You now know what belongs inside a project instruction. The next question is broader. across your whole setup, what goes in the setting, what goes in the project, and what belong in the regular chat. Here is the easy way to think about this. So setting are for the information that is about you that applies across your work. For example, your jurisdiction, writing style, preference tone, billing rate, or general safety rule. If it's true across most of your matter, it may belong in your setting. Projects are for information about one specific client or matter that include the contract, leading, medical record, settlement strategy, important deadline. If the information is unique to one case, keep it inside that case project. A regular chat is for one-time question that does not require ongoing matter context. Well, for example, I practice family law in Texas that definitely need to be in the setting. The signed contract, because we are talking about a specific contract, that means we are talking about a project. The last offer was this. Again, I'm talking about a specific matter that need to be in the project. Define res judicata. This goes in the chat because I am just wanted a definition. The most important rule is simple. Matter specific information stay inside the matter project. Do not place client name, settlement position, or case strategy in your general setting. Your setting may apply across future conversation while the project is designed to obtain information for one particular matter. Keep your general preferences in setting, keep client information in project. Use regular chat for everything else. Now we wanted to make sure that our project is working. Once your project is ready, run 2 quick tests. So right here, I'm gonna go back to my Meridian. I'm gonna open my project. As you see, I still have instruction. All the files are there. Now I'm going to see if Claude actually knows about this project. So I'm gonna type, what do you know about this matter? You can use Sonnet or you can use Opus 4.8, and this will take a little bit time. So right here, Claude should identify the party, the general situation, the important fact about this project. Okay, as you see, it's coming back. Here's what the records show, organized by category. I'm working for a document in this project, and it say the parties and the contract, the 2 invoices that I sent, and we have the charge order request, Crestline back charge package. I have this key contract provision that govern the dispute, and even it tell me verify before. As you can see, Claude inside the project knows everything about this matter. Now we're gonna run a second test. I'm gonna close the project and I'm gonna open a new chat, okay? And then I will ask the same question. What do you know about this matter? Gonna wait. It looked like your message may be incomplete. You asked what I know about this matter, but no matter detail have come through yet in our conversation. As you can see, the Claude does not have any idea what we are talking about here because I am not inside that specific matter. And that is the result that we want. Inside the project, Claude can work with the information you place there. Outside the project, the matter should not automatically carry over. If Claude recognize the matter inside the project, but not outside it, your project is working as intended. Now that the workspace is organized, we are going to look at the fastest way to give Claude information. Uploading the document is one of the simplest habits that can save you a surprising amount of time. If the document already exists, do not describe it and try to download it. I often see someone with a 40-page contract on their computer start typing. This is a contract between 2 companies. It covers payment, confidentiality, and termination. That creates 3 problems. First problem is trying a description take longer than dragging the file into Claude. Second, when you summarize, you're naturally leaving things out. You may skip a paragraph because it doesn't seem important, but the paragraph could contain the clause that change the entire analysis. Third, Claude is now working from your memory of the document instead of the document itself. If you misremember a date, paraphrase a clause incorrectly, or leave out one sentence, Claude has no way to know that. It will analyze the information you gave it. So whenever possible, provide the original document, upload the actual contract, upload the actual medical record, upload the actual deposition transcript. You will usually get a better result because Claude can review the complete source instead of a shortened description. The rule is simple. If the file exists, upload it. Most people communicate with AI by typing. But typing is only one option, and it is often not the fastest one. There are five main ways to give Claude information. The first one is file upload. This should usually be your first choice when the information already exists as a document. Upload the PDF, Word document, worksheet, or like image, contract, medical record. Claude receives the complete file, and you avoid manually retyping information. The second method is voice. When you have context or instruction in your head, click the microphone and speak naturally. You do not need to sound organized. You can pause, change your mind, or think out loud. So I'm going to show you how can this work inside Claude. I'm going to have my Claude open. Okay, I'm in the Meridian project. This is our previous conversation. And right here is if you can see, you can just click on this and then you can ask your question. And I'm going to ask it a question. So I spent an hour and a half preparing for the client meeting. The meeting lasts about 25 minutes. What do you think I should charge the client? As you can see, even it has my and everything there. So this is a very fastest way than using typing. So you can easily use this voice right here to give it instruction. Also, my hourly rate is $300. Help me draft the billing entry. Okay, see, I forgot something, so I added it later on before I hit the send message. Now, if I'm ready, I'm going to hit the message and I will see what Claude is going to respond to me. As you can see, it's doing all the calculation. Okay, as you can see, client meeting preparation, 19 minutes. This much, the meeting is 25 minutes, and the total is 115 minutes, and the billable is about 2 hours. Okay, and it's about 2 hours, and at rate of 300 per hour, it's $600, and this is the draft billing entry that you can add it to your daily entries for that specific client. I'm going to go back. Another method is using a screenshot. If you are looking at an email, court filing, website, or error message, take a screenshot and paste it into Claude. Instead of explaining what it is on your screen, show it. The fourth method is copy and paste. This works well when the text is available, but you cannot upload the original file. You can copy an email, a section of a web page, or a text from another application. And lastly, the fifth method, which is typing. Typing is still useful for short questions such as, what does this legal term means? But once your message becomes several paragraph long, voice or file upload may be the fastest ways. So this week, try one method you do not normally use. If you always type, try voice. If you have never used a screenshot, try one. The goal is not to type faster. The goal is to choose the easiest way to give Claude the information it needs. Now, in the next few slides, I'm going to show you some workflow for different cases that you can easily use in your practice. The first production prompt is for contract review. So I'm going to start by uploading the contract, and instead of simply saying review this agreement, I will give Claude a very clear perspective. So this is the prompt. I'm going to go over the prompt, or we're going to see together what is the result that Claude will give us using this prompt or workflow. So here we are explaining who we are representing. And then here we are giving instruction for this issue gives me section number and page, what this clause does to my client in plain English, how opposing counsel will use the clause in a dispute, what is the market standard version look like, specific red line language I can propose. So this is first instruction. And then the second one, using categorizing by severity. So if it's uncapped liability, it's on lateral termination, one-sided indemnification, Claude will color it red. For deviate from market standard but is negotiable, we're going to use yellow, and unusual but acceptable with awareness, that will be green. Then we ask Claude to identify what is missing. The biggest risk is not always a harmful clause. Sometimes it is the absence of important section or protections. For example, no limitation of liability cap or no cure period, no termination for convenience. And finally, we ask it for a short client ready summary that we can email it to our client. At the end, I have used my prompt that we talked about in part 2. There is no fabrication citation. There you should be always adding verify, and I will also add the checklist. I have not included the checklist here, but please, if you need to have the checklist, make sure you add it here. So I'm going to show you that what is the result of this when I use this prompt in Claude. So I'm going ahead and opening a Claude. And because this is for just showing purpose, I am not going to use project. But if this is a ongoing matter for you that we talked earlier, please use project for this. So right here in this plus sign, you are going to upload your file, and then you are going to copy and paste your prompt. Remember, because I'm working on the chat, I need to make sure that all the part of the craft is ready in there. So let me copy and paste my prompt. You just need to modify the prompt to fit your case. I just did the same thing for my case. I also added the writing style, write it in a clear, concise, practical language, be direct, professional, explain legal and contractual risk. And also I added the format. The format should be table, section, severity, and all of this. You can choose your model. I will go with Opus 4.8, and then you will hit on send message. This will take about 10 to 15 minutes, but the result will be astonishing. So as you can see, we have a table. This is color coded. If I make it a little bit bigger, you can see that this is explaining, this is the section and a page number. You can easily go ahead and check that, verify it. The severity we have in a plain English, how opposing counsel will use this, market standard version and recommendation red line. As you can see, we have all of this. What is missing? It will give you the missing and absence protection. And we have right here, you need to confirm these items. And this is the verification checklist, which I added to the prompt. And there's a 3-sentence summary for the client email. And do not let this to stop you. If you need any changes, you can just simply ask Claude to change it. For example, instead of this 3-sentence summary for client email, I can ask Claude to change this to give me email draft for my client. And as you can see, make this bigger this time. And as you can see, the email is ready for you to review. And if it's correct, you can hit send. And right here we have, if you have connected your email, which we will talk about in later sessions, that you can easily hit on the send by Gmail. And also you can either download the file, the table from here, or you can hit on the arrow to download the file like this. So our next workflow is especially useful for personal injury lawyer. This is a workflow for medical record. We are going to start by uploading our medical record in Claude, and then we are going to copy and paste this workflow prompt into the chat or either on your project. You can just adjust some of this information. For example, this is asking for build a chronological treatment summary from 3 medical records. You need to add the accident date, claim injury. We are going to extract date of visit, provider name, chief complaint, and clinical finding and test result, diagnosis, treatment provided, work status, prognosis, and follow-up plan. In the uploaded record, we have the format as a table sorted by date. So this is our format. After the table, then create a separate section that flags. So we have red flags for the defense, and then we have red flag for plaintiff, which you can read the detail here. And at the end, we have a 3-sentence case summary that can use in a demand letter. And also I will use my no fabrication, mark everything that is uncertain with a verify. So this is another very useful workflow for you to use. So our third production workflow is the position analysis. This is not just a request for a summary. It's a request for a strategic analysis. You start by uploading the deposition transcript. And then we have the prompt workflow here. Then we give Claude our theory of the case in 2 or 3 sentences, which is right here, and then explain what you are trying to prove. Once Claude understands your theory, it can review the transcript through that lens. The extraction and organization, this will gives us the direct admission, admission by omission, prior inconsistent treatment setup, damage evidence, area to follow up. And yes, so these are 5 things that we are going to get back from Claude. And then I also added for each entry, include page, line, the code language, and 1 sentence explaining why it's matter to my theory. And again, at the end, we have a top 5 strongest admission for trial as a numbered listed with page, line, reference. And I added no fabrication. Cited passage must come from the uploaded transcript, and mark everything that is uncertain so you verify it. So far, we have focused on getting information into Claude. Now let's talk about getting the right output back. A common mistake is to write a detailed prompt, receive a good answer, and then realize the answer is only text instead of the chat. So now we have to copy it, reformat it, and turn it into the file you actually need. So you can often avoid that by telling Claude the desired format at the beginning. If the work involves formulas, column, calculation, totals, you can ask Claude to generate Excel. If you are preparing a letter, memo, motion, or editable document, you can ask for Word. If you are preparing mediation, board meeting, client pitch, you can ask for PowerPoint. If the information would be easier to understand visually, you can ask for timeline, a chart diagram, and for a quick question, a normal text response is perfectly fine. So before you send your prompt, ask yourself, what do I want to receive at the end? A Word document, a PowerPoint, maybe a chart, diagram, Excel. That will help you so you can prevent a lot of time to redoing everything. So this 1 sentence can save you from doing the formatting yourself later. Until now, we have mostly worked with Claude inside a browser, but Claude can also work directly inside your Microsoft Office application. That allowed you to work on an actual file instead of constantly copying information between different applications. Let's start with Word. So imagine that you have a contract open in a Word document. You open the Claude panel and ask it to review the document. Instead of creating a separate summary, Claude can propose edit using track changes. You can review each changes. You can review each changes, accept or reject or modify it yourself. That is much closer to the way attorney already reviewed document with colleagues. For example, you may say, review this vendor agreement against our standard playbook, flag every deviation as a track change with a comment explaining the risk. So now you will receive a working red line instead of just a list of suggestions that you must manually apply. Next, in Excel, Claude can create spreadsheet with a live formula. For a damage calculation, you may ask for categories, amount, supporting information, and formulas that automatically update the total. When one value changes, the calculation update with it. In PowerPoint, Claude can help creating a starting deck for mediation or a client presentation or a CLE. So for sure, you will review the structure, content, design, but you are no longer have to begin with a blank presentation. You are not only asking questions in a chatbot, you are bringing AI into document and workflow where the work already happened. So let me show you one of the most valuable workflow in this section. You are not asking Claude to create a new contract. You are asking it to review an existing contract using your firm's preferred negotiating position. So we're going to open our agreement in Word and launch the Claude panel. Let me show you how do we do this. So here I open the contract. I'm in the home, and then I will click on Adds In, and then I will look for Claude. There's 2 different ones. We have Claude by Anthropic, and then we have Claude for Microsoft 360. I will go ahead and add this one. You can have both of them. And I will wait a little bit. I will allow and continue. And so you need to sign in right here. It will gives you a code. And as you can see, I just signed in. and ways to work in Claude. Next. Okay, what is your role? You can legal. Next, what area of law? So for example, here I'm going to pick cross connector, skip for now. Next, I understand. And then I'm not going to use Fable. And right here, I have it ready. So now you can easily check or chat with Claude inside your Word document. I'm going to add my firm playbook, which is this one. I'm going to add it here. So now I'm going to copy this inside my Word in the Claude. I already paste my playbook, and I will hit answer. Sorry, I forgot to add all this. As you see, this is working now. So here, Claude can compare and contrast against those position and propose track changes. The important part is that the recommendation remain visible. Nothing is silently accepted. You can see each suggestion, revision, and review the explanation behind it. So you remain in control of the document. Track change is on. Now reading the relevant article. All right, so right here, as you can see, our indemnification, this is the changes that it shows, and it gives you the suggestion. And whenever you want it to change it, you just either reject or you approve it. They found 17 places right here. Again, you can reject or approve. Termination, let's say at any time. Track changes is on, so anything you apply lands as a red line. Each card carry a plain language rationale. Choose apply with a comment to attach it as a margin comment. And as you can see, 12 pending suggestion across 5 groups. So this is where you can use Claude inside your Word. Congratulations, you have completed part 3. At this point, you know much more than how to write a prompt. You know how to organize your work so AI can become part of your daily practice. You learn when to use Chat Project in Cowork. You learn where each type of information goes, how to verify your project is working. Then we looked at the Microsoft Office integration and how Claude can help revise existing document using track changes. In part 4, we are going to build on those systems. We will connect email, calendar, cloud storage. We will create reusable skill and explore automation that can save significant time throughout the year. This is where AI begin moving beyond individual tasks and start supporting the larger workflow behind your practice. See you on part 4.